When we hear the word UI, we immediately think of something like this, something that we can look at and interact with by hovering, clicking, dragging, and scrolling. We use a GUI, a graphical user interface, which is great. I can open up any app I've never used before and intuitively figure out how to do things. Almost any app. But this is not the only way to interact with a computer. Another way is to use text to tell your computer what you want it to do. And this is what this video is about. The command line, the terminal, shell, or bash. While those things are technically different, you can for now think of them as one. The app that allows you to interact with your computer using text, to write commands into it, and it will translate them to your system to perform them. But why would you want to do that? Why should you even bother? I will tell you why I'm learning it, but first let me show you this. This is my desktop. It's obviously a mess. Most of those are images, screenshots I took while browsing, and maybe some text files, folders, and video recordings mingled in the middle. I want to clean this up. Here's how I think most of us would normally do it. The first thing I'm going to do is create a new folder, and I'm going to name it Screenshots. Then I will select everything by pressing Command A, and I will manually deselect the Screenshots folder and the Mac drive. Then I will grab everything and I will drop everything inside the Screenshots folder. I will open the Screenshots folder. Now I can easily select the .mov files or the movie files. I can put them back at the desktop. Then I can make another folder. I can even use Command Shift N to make it. I would call it Screen Recordings. Then I can grab the video files and drop it into the screen recording folder. Create another folder and call it Text. I can find the text files. There's only one, so I can grab it and drop it into the text folder. That wasn't too bad. Let's do it one more time using the terminal app, the command line. First, I will open the terminal app by pressing Command spacebar and writing terminal. Then I will head to the desktop. I will create 3 new folders: screenshots, screen recordings, and text files. Here are my 3 new folders. Then I will move everything that ends in PNG into the screenshots folder. Then I will move everything that ends in MOV into the screen recordings folder. Finally, I will move everything that ends in text into the text files folder. That's it. Now I don't need to sift through files eyeing what I want to select anymore. This is a trivial example, but you can see that with a few simple commands you can do some of your everyday tasks in a faster and more efficient way. And this is reason number 1, speed and efficiency. Now, this video does not aim to convince you to abandon GUI and use the command line instead. While this might be somewhat possible, it would be taking things to an extreme and would end up being very inconvenient rather than productive. I simply want to show you how to quickly start using the command line and why it is a useful tool to learn. Reason number 2 is you want to become a developer. You want to make your own applications. I want to build my own indie apps. Specifically a habit tracking app. I've been exploring Figma for a bit and now I think it's time to get into coding. And I believe that the command line is a good entry point to do so. Now I do a lot of everyday things using text commands and I'm getting used to interacting with my computer using text. I'm closer to the developer tools and the dev environment. William Schatz, the author of the book The Linux Command Line, says in this online interview that he thinks that people are learning programming backwards. He thinks that first you need to learn how to take control of your computer, then you can learn to program. There's not one right way to do things, but I think it's not a bad place to start. Which leads us to reason number 3. If you intend to develop, you will eventually have to use dev tools, and some of those tools do not have a GUI. And so you will need to learn to use the command line, at least the very basics of it, to be able to use these tools. Therefore, it's a skill that you will need to learn anyways if you want to build your own applications. An example of this, I wanted to create a website. I made a quick research online and found the best way for me was to host my website for free using GitHub Pages and use a tool called Jekyll to build the site and a tool called Git to upload my pages online using very few commands. Both Jekyll and Git are command line tools. Another example is I want to use Next.js to make websites. When I go to its docs, it will refer me to install it using the command line. A third example, I came across a very interesting tool called Remotion that allows you to use code to make animations and edit videos that I saw in a Fireship video and I wanted to play with it. and I had to use the command line to install it and use it. A fourth example, I came across another tool called reveal.js. This tool allows you to use something called Markdown, which is a simple way of writing text that is translated by the application into HTML. So it allows you to use Markdown to create presentations that really look very nice, and they take minimal amount of effort to create, especially if they are simple ones, like the one I'm using in this video. And again, I had to use the command line to install it and to use it. There are also some tools that work inside the terminal that you can use every day that are not just purely dev tools. The command line has something called package managers, which you can think of as app stores for the terminal. By learning the command line, you can download and use those tools. You can also use it to download and update GUI apps using the command line. For example, I can make speed test while I'm inside the command line without having to download any application or visit any website. I can install Google Chrome, among other many things. Finally, getting started with the command line is really not as hard as it first seems. While you might find it daunting to learn many commands, especially as a beginner, as most of what you will do when you first start you can do with a GUI. As you build your knowledge, two things are going to happen. You will learn to do things that are not possible to do with a GUI, and you will become much faster at doing some of the things that you can now do using graphical user interface. How to start? One thing to note before we do is that I'm not claiming to be an expert. I'm simply studying and exploring things and kind of sharing my study notes. So with that out of the way, if you're using Mac or Linux, you can simply open the Terminal app and get started immediately. On a Mac, I press Command Spacebar to open Spotlight Search, type Terminal and press Return, and I can start writing commands right away. If you are using Windows, there are two ways you can use a Linux shell. The first one is to install Git for Windows, which runs a Linux shell emulator. The second way is to install Windows Subsystem for Linux, which is the way that is most recommended. It gives you a Linux environment without using a virtual machine or dual booting Linux. You'll find links for both ways in the description. Now that you are inside the terminal, the first thing you can do is use the terminal to navigate through the files and folders on your computer. Using GUI, you know where you're at, as you can see and click on icons. But here inside the terminal, you're just greeted with this blank screen. You don't know what to do or where you are at. When you open the terminal, you get a prompt. It might look different depending on your settings. Usually you'll find a $sign and the fat rectangle. The $sign is the prompt. It just shows you that this is a command line, that you can type your command here. And the rectangle is just the cursor. So to know where you're at, you type your first command, pwd, print working directory. Think of a directory as just a folder. Basically, you're telling the terminal to show you what folder you are at right now, and then you press enter or return. And this command returns a path for you. Then the prompt and the cursor are back again to show you that you can type another command if you want. This is the path to where I'm currently at, my home folder. But what is a path? Let's have a very brief and quick look at the Linux folder directory structure. Let's have a look at this image by the Linux Handbook website. This just shows you how the Linux folder structure works. Everything, all files and folders, are located under the root. Therefore, a full path to any file or folder starts from the root, and this is called an absolute path. A path that starts from the root folder. It doesn't matter for now what each of those folders does. Most of your files will be in your home folder, under your username. So the path to your home folder would look like this. It starts from the root directory, then it goes to your home folder, or to your home directory, and goes to your username. That's it. This is the path to your home folder. You can substitute this part just by writing tilde. The tilde sign is equal to the path to your home directory. So the path to your documents would look like this: root, home, then your username, then documents, which can also be written this way: tilde, then documents. since this part is the same as tilde. Now for Mac it's the same concept since it's a Unix based system. Some of the directories at the root directory will look different, but the path to your home folder looks like this: root, users, then username. That's it. This is the home folder. And also tilde works here as well. So the path to my documents on a Mac is tilde, then documents. Alright, so when I write the command pwd print working directory, it will give me a path starting from the root directory to exactly where I am. And this is my home folder. So for example, if I add the GUI here, right click on the documents and choose new terminal tab, add folder. So another new terminal tab is opened here, add the documents, and if I write the command again, pwd print working directory, you can see that now the absolute path goes all the way to my documents, and here's my home folder, and then I'm at the documents. So this is how to know what folder you're working at. Alright, so now that you know where you are, you want to know what files and directories are inside your current working directory. So we'll use another command, the ls command, to list all the files and folders in our current directory. It stands for list storage. Again, I write the command and press enter. Now we'll get a list of all the files and folders, so you can see it's the same list over here. Applications, bin, and there's documents, there's downloads, but the ls command doesn't just do this. I can add options to it to make it give me more information. Now, let's write the command again, ls, but this time we'll add the option by writing -a, and then press return. Adding the lowercase a option to the command includes all the files that start with a dot in the list. These are files that are hidden by default. And by the way, if you want to see hidden files inside the GUI, you can go here and press command shift dot, and you will see all the hidden files. And if you don't want to see them anymore, you can do it again, command shift dot. Now when the screen gets too crowded, you can use the clear command and press return, and it will give you a blank screen again. If you scroll up, everything that you wrote will still be there. Now the ls command has many options. So for example, ls-l will give you the files and directories inside your current directory, but it will also give you more information like read and write, permissions, the owner of the file, the size of the file. Also, ls-G will give you colored output, so the files and the folders will have different colors, so it makes it easier to read. Now I like to combine these commands like this, ls-gals. This does look a bit scary, especially that I'm zoomed in to make it easier for you to read. But you can see here that I have the files without color, and then I have the directories in color. I also have the hidden directories included, and I have more information about my files. Again, I will use the clear command. What options you can use with your commands? You can use the man command, followed by the command you want to know more about. And you'll get all the info on this command, including a list of all options you can use. The man command can be confusing at first, but keep using it, and you'll get better at finding what you want out of it. You don't need to learn or understand what each single option does. I used man ls, and now here I have the name of the command. It stands for list directory contents. Let's look at the options that I already use and what they do. So I use ls-gals, and here we have the lowercase a. It includes directory entries whose names begin with a dot, so it includes dot files and folders that are hidden by default. We have the -g, the capital G option, which enables colorized output, and then the H option, which gives us human readable file sizes. So we get a sign next to the size that tells us that this is in kilobytes or gigabytes or megabytes. And then we have the lowercase l, just lists the file in long format and gives us more information about each directory and file. If you want to quit the man or the manual, all you need to do is press the Q key and you will get back to your command line. I find it helpful sometimes to open a new tab by pressing Command T, then open the manual for the command I want to know more about, man ls for example, and then I can switch between the tabs by pressing Command 1 and Command 2, just like I would do inside the browser. One final thing before we learn how to actually navigate. What is the anatomy of a command? What is the command made up of? We said the command starts with a prompt, which is the $sign. Then we have the command itself, then options or flags. The command can also have something called argument or multiple arguments. So the command is like ls and options, just like -gals, and the ls command does not need any arguments because it assumes that the argument is the current working directory, and the current working directory can be referred to with a dot. You don't need to write the dot because the terminal already assumes when you use a command, if it needs an argument but you don't give it one, that you want to apply this command to the current working directory, referred to with a dot. But this argument can be a path to a file or a directory that your command will be applied to. So I can, instead of writing the command like this and listing what is inside the current directory, I can give the command a path and list what is inside this path without me changing my directory. So for example, I can ls root, I can have a look at what is inside the root directory without going there. Or I can have a look at the folder called temp, which is inside the root directory without changing my current directory. So if I want to have a look at what is inside my documents, I will give an absolute path to my documents, ls-g, then I'll write tilde to refer to the home directory, and then documents. And this will list what is inside my documents without me changing my current working directory. Or desktop. So by writing the absolute path to any directory on my computer, I can list the files and folders inside it. But we are already at the home directory. So why do I need to write an absolute path? Why do I need to write a full path when I'm already there? You don't need to write a full path, so you can do it this way. You can write dot, starting from here, go to documents. Since documents is a directory inside the home directory, and desktop and downloads, I can do the same here. So from here, go to desktop. And this is called a relative path. So if an absolute path is going to use root as the starting point, a relative path is going to use the current working directory, whatever it is, as the starting point. And since the terminal already assumes that you're starting from the current working directory, if you don't give an absolute path, you can omit the support. So you can just write documents directory, ls-e documents or ls-e desktop, and this should be single space, of course. It can also have multiple arguments, so I don't need to write the whole command 2 times. I can just do it this way. I can ls-e documents, leave 1 space, and downloads. I can also add an absolute path and just do it this way, and the temp directory, and it will list the files and folders in each of those directories. Now let's have a look at it inside the terminal so that it would make more sense. ls command, I can just use it without any arguments or options, just like this. Now I will get a list of the files and directories inside my current working directory, and this is the same as using it with a dot like this to refer to the current working directory. It already assumes, if I add no argument, that I want to list the files and folders for the current working directory. So if I add a dot, I get the same output. I can use the ls command with any path, so I can ls root, I can ls the temp folder inside the root directory, this one, to list what is inside it, and I can ls any directory on my computer if I give an absolute path. So for example, I can ls documents like this, using the tilde sign instead of writing a full path like this, ls root users, then documents. And since documents, downloads, desktop is already in my current working directory, I can just use a relative path like that, ls desktop directly. And I can write the word desk, then press on the tab key and autocomplete will write the rest for me. And this just lists what is inside the desktop. So if you have a look inside the desktop folder here, you can see text files, screenshots, screen recordings, text files, screenshots, screen recordings. And we are still in the home directory. So now we should understand what is the difference between a relative path and an absolute path. Relative path uses the current working directory as the reference point. An absolute path uses the root directory as the reference point. So using relative path is just a shorter way to do it, sometimes. And now we can finally navigate. I can change my current working directory or head to another folder using the cd command. Again, cd takes a relative path like this, cd documents. Now if I print working directory, you can see that I'm not at the home directory anymore, I'm at the documents. But it can also take an absolute path. So the desktop is not inside my current working directory, so I can just head to it using an absolute path. So I will cd tilde, which is home, then desktop, and still I can use tab for autocomplete. Now if I print working directory, you can see that I am at the desktop. If I write cd by itself with no arguments, it's going to take me to the home directory wherever I am. Now let's go to the desktop again. Now you can see I'm at the desktop. So if I want to go to the home directory, my parent directory, I can do this, cd ... If I print working directory again, you can see that I'm back at the home directory. This is just like using the up button for Windows. It takes you to the parent directory. There's also a way to go back and forth, just like the back button in GUI. So you can just toggle between your directories like this using cd-. So you can see now I am at the desktop. If I cd- again, I'm home, cd-, at the desktop, cd-, home, so I can toggle between two directories. One final command and then we will move to something else other than navigation. You can use the open command to open directories inside GUI. So let's see where we're at. Print working directory, we are at the home folder. And ls to see what directories we have. So let's say I want to open the desktop. So I will use the open command and then write desktop, then press return, and it will open the GUI inside the desktop folder. I can also open the current working directory using dot. So open dot, it opened up the home directory for me inside GUI. Again, the parent directory, the same thing, open dot, it will open the parent directory for me. The open command can be also used to open applications. So I can open my favorite note-taking app just by writing open, then -a, which stands for application, and then write Obsidian, and press return, and this will open Obsidian for me. But to do this, you need to write the name of the application exactly like the system knows this name. So if you are not sure how to write the name of an application, so for example, if I want to open Brave, unable to find application named Brave, so if you want to know what it's called, you can head to the application folders. So I will ls to see the folders in my home directory, and I will ls applications instead of heading there. Right, not this folder, so ls root, so ls root applications, and yes, you can use any of these apps using the open command. So I can, for example, open -a Figma, and Figma will open for me inside the GUI. You can go to any folder on your computer using GUI, and then you can right click on it, and this is on a Mac, I'm not sure about other systems, and you can choose to open a new terminal tab or a complete new terminal at this folder. So I can do this to the screenshots folder. If I want to do something in the command line for the images inside, I can just right click and choose new terminal tab. And now if I print working directory, you can see that I am at the home folder, then desktop, then screenshots. And if I ls, you can see all the images are inside. Another thing you can do is that you can ls and then you can drag and drop a folder inside your terminal and press enter, and you can work with it this way, just using the terminal and the command line at the same time. Alright, now you know where you are, and you can list files and directories, and you can navigate between directories. Let's see how we can organize our files and folders using the command line. And let's start by making a new folder or directory. I'll just head to the desktop. So to make a new folder, we will use the command make directory and then write the name of our folder. So I can do it this way, my folder. And you can see here is the folder we just created. You shouldn't leave spaces when you're creating a new folder. So if I create it this way, my space folder, what's going to happen is that I ended up with two folders instead, or two directories instead, my and folder. This is not what we want, but this means that I can, just like we did at the example at the beginning of the video when I was cleaning up the desktop, I can create multiple folders at the same time. I can create folder 1, folder 2, folder 3, just like that. And as you can see, folder 1, folder 2, folder 3, or directory 1, directory 2, directory 3. Of course you can make directory and look at the options that you've got. The option I want to tell you about is the -p. Basically, it allows you to create a parent directory with multiple directories inside it. So I can make a directory and call it, and then I need to add the lowercase p option, and then I can call it parent directory, and then inside it I will put directory or dir1, dir2. So now where is it? Parent directory, if I open it, you can see it has a folder inside it, dir1, and inside this dir2. Alright, while if you try to create it this way, dir parent d1, d2, you're going to get an error. So you need to add the -p option if you want to create nested directories. Alright, so now let's move things. To do this, we'll use the mv command. We can use it to move files and move directories. So I'll make two new directories and I will name them directory 1, or easier, dir1 and dir2, and I will put dir3 inside dir2. This didn't work because I forgot to add the -p option, so it only created directory 1. So now I have to do it again, make directory -p parent, I think, and then create directory 2 and directory 3 inside it. Right, if we look inside directory 2, you can see the directory 3 is inside. Now we don't need to use GUI to look inside directory 2, we can just do this, ls directory 2, and we can see inside it is directory 3. Right, so we have directory 1, ls directory 1 is empty, and ls directory 2 has the directory 3 inside it. Okay, let me clear this. Now let's move directory 3 from inside d2 to directory 1. So we'll use the move command, mv, and you first will add the path to the file we want to move. And since we are already at the desktop, we will use a relative path. So go inside directory 2 and grab directory 3 and then move it to directory 1. And now if I ls directory 1 and directory 2, you can see directory 2 now is the one that is empty and directory 1 has directory 3 inside it. I hope that's not too confusing. So basically, the move command takes two arguments. Argument 1 is the path to the file or directory you want to move, and argument 2 is the path to the directory you want to move it to. We can also use the mv command to rename things. Like this. I want to rename dir1 to folder1. Because I put the same path, it just renamed it. And of course I can use the move command with absolute paths as well. So for example, I can say move folder1 and directory2 and send them to a hidden file inside the home directory called trash. And now if I open the trash can, you can see that they are there. So this is a safe way to delete things. And now I can empty the trash, or I can undo this. One problem that can happen with the move command is that if I move a file with the same name, it will overwrite it without asking for permission. One useful option for the move command is adding the lowercase I option, so that if you're moving something into a directory and there is another file or folder that has the same name, it will not overwrite it, and it will ask you first. It will ask you if you want to overwrite this file or this directory because they have the same name, so you can type yes and the move will happen, otherwise the move will stop. So it's just a safer way to do it is to use it with the interactive option. Otherwise you might move a file into a directory and there's already a file that has the same name, but the content is different and it will be overwritten. So just use this way, move -i and then the same way we did path 1, then path 2. One last thing I can do before we move on to copying things, I can organize my desktop in a better way by creating a new directory, make directory, naming it my files, and then I can just move everything into my files. Now let's copy things. The copy command works a lot like the move command. So let's make a new directory and let's give it a name of new folder. Here it is. And now let's copy new folder and give it a new name, new folder 2. So basically duplicating it. And I got an error that new folder is a directory. So the copy command, I can use it just like this with files, but with folders, I need to add an option to it, -r. And this is going to copy a folder with everything inside it. So let's try it one more time. cp-r, new folder, and paste the copy here. Basically, it's just like doing this, except that I don't need to do it. Dash, then / new folder 2. And here is our copy. Also, with the copy command, it's better to use the -i interactive option. My files is an important directory for me. I don't want it to be deleted. So if I'm copying a bunch of directories and files into the desktop, and one of them is also named my files, and I copy them just like this, cp-r, and then grab those folders and drop them here. What's going to happen is if one of them is also called my files, the directory that I really care about is going to be deleted and is going to be replaced by another directory that just has the same name. So to avoid this, just add the I option. You can add multiple options like this. Another option you can use is verbose, so it just tells you what has been copied from where to where. So if we copy new folder 2 here as well, and let's call our new copy new folder 3, it just tells us it copied new folder 2 from here to new folder 3 here as well. Again, the cp command can be used with absolute paths. So if I want to copy something from here and send it to the downloads folder, I can copy my files, for example, and then put the absolute path to downloads, just like this. I don't want to do this, but if I press enter, we will find it at the downloads directory. Now we have a bunch of directories that we don't need, so we want to delete them. there is a command called remove directory, rmdir. The only thing that this command can do is delete empty folders. So if I'm not sure what is inside a folder, I can remove directory, new folder 2, my files, new folder 3. I can even try to remove my files and press enter. They have all been removed because they are empty, but my files are still here because there is stuff inside it. So remove directory cannot delete it. This takes us to the remove command. So if I want to remove folders that are not empty or files, I need to use the remove command. Let me first make a directory here and name it new folder, and let's use the GUI for now to create a text file. So just open the text edit and create a new document, write anything in here and then save it at the desktop and name it delete me.txt. Save it at the desktop. Now if I ls, I can see I have the delete me.txt and I have the new folder that I want to delete. But the new folder needs to have something inside it. So let's take a copy of delete me.txt and send it inside the new folder. So if we ls new folder, to have a look inside it, you can see it has delete me inside it. Alright, let's clear this and let's try to delete new folder and delete me using the terminal. So I can use the remove command, rm, and say delete the file called delete me.txt and delete new folder. Delete me.txt is deleted, but new folder is not deleted because it is a directory. So again, if I want to delete a directory that has stuff inside it, I need to use the option -r. So remove -r, new folder, and it's gone. Be very careful when using the remove command because the stuff that we just removed is not in the trash. It's not moved to the trash and you can get it back. It's gone completely forever. You cannot get it back anymore. Before we move on to editing text files using the command line, let's look at something called wildcards. Wildcards will make your command apply to every file that matches a specific pattern. Let's just make a quick example to take a look at what that means. So let's make a couple of directories, a couple of new directories. So make directory, directory 1, directory 2, directory 3, folder 1, folder 2, folder 3. Now I want to delete all the empty directories at the desktop. All these are empty directories except for my files, so I want to delete them. So I will remove directory, then I will use a wildcard. This will apply the remove directory command to all the directories inside the desktop. And I'm not scared that my files might be deleted because it has stuff inside it and the remove directory command works on empty directories only. So if I press enter, they're all gone. And I get an error that my files was not deleted because it's not empty. I can use the arrow keys to scroll through the commands that I have written before. So I'll just press up 2 times, then press enter, and I will create the same directories again without needing to write them one more time. Now I want to remove the directories that start with the word folder. So I will write the remove, let me clear first. I'll write the remove directory command and I will write the word folder, then store, or the word full, then store, or even f, then store, because no other file here has the same name. But let's just leave it as folder, then the wildcard. That means that apply this command to anything that is called folder something. So if I press enter, you can see everything that started with folder was deleted. Right, now let's remove everything again, all the empty directories again. Let's create the directories one more time. And this time I'm going to remove the directories, all the directories that end in number 3. So you can see if I ls, there's directory 1, directory 2, folder 1, folder 2, but no 3 anymore. Now let's remove all the empty directories. So let's create new directories. Make directory my directory 1, my dir 2, my file 1, my folder 1, my folder 2. Right, and let's say I want to delete every single directory that has the word folder in the middle of its name. So I will do it this way. Remove directory. Then the pattern is like this. Something, folder, something. And if I press enter and ls, everything that has folder in the middle of its name is gone. That's it. If I want to delete anything that has dir in the middle of its name, again, something, dir, or even d, I, something, and they're gone. Now we're almost done. It's time to edit files using the command line. Text files especially, because those are the ones you'll be dealing with the most as you develop your own applications. We have looked at how we can create a text file using the GUI, and it took a lot of steps to do so. I had to open the text edit app, then write something, name it, and then choose where I will put it. So let's see how we can quickly create text files using the command line. We will use the touch command to create new files on the fly. So touch, and let's create a new file, .text. And here it is. I can create multiple files at once, so touch, file1.text, file2.markdown, file3.html, and here they are, just like that. And if I want to remove these files, I can move everything that starts in new and everything that starts in file to the trash. If I go to the trash, you'll find them there. I don't need them, so I can empty the trash safely without needing to use the remove command like we agreed before. Now let's create a new file. So touch new file.md markdown, and the easiest way to edit a text file is to use the open command. So I can open new file.md, and it's going to open it inside the text editor for me. I was expecting it to open the text file, but it opened VS Code. So I can edit the file, write something here, and then if I open the file, what I wrote is still there. Let's rename this move new file.md to file.text. And let's open it one more time, open file.text, and it will open inside the simple text editor. I can edit it quickly here and save Command S, and that's it. That's the first way you can edit the file. But let's say you don't want to rename the file, so let's rename it again. Move file.text to file.md. So I want to open it using the text edit, the simple quick text editing app, instead of VLC, which is the default application that would open if there's a markdown or .md file. So I can do it this way, open -a and write the name of the application, text, edit, and then the name of the file, file.md. And it will open up in the app that I want it to. I can edit it, write something else, then save and close. Now, I don't need to open the file to quickly read what is inside it. So if I want to quickly read what is inside a file, I can use the cat command. It stands for concatenate, which means that it can connect and link together multiple files, but its simplest use case is just to read what is inside a text file quickly. This works very well, especially if the text file doesn't have a lot of text inside it, like the one that we have. So instead of opening the file, I can just cat file.md, and inside the command line I can see the text that is inside the file. Alright, so we talked about one way to edit the files is to open them, edit and save inside the GUI, And to take a quick peek inside the files, we can use the cat command. Another way we can edit text files or add text to a file is to use the echo command. Echo is just a simple command that returns whatever argument you give it. So it takes your input and turns it into an output. Like this, for example. Echo, hey there, is going to return, hey there. So my input or my argument became an output. This seems useless, but I can use it with something called shell redirects to add text quickly to any text file. So basically I can echo hey there, for example, and then use the greater than sign 2 times or 1 time to send this text, the result of this command, into the file.md. And now if I cat file.md, you can see that it replaced what we wrote inside the file before with what we wrote now with the echo command. So it replaces the text inside the file. But what if I want to keep the text inside the file? So again, I will just do echo, add this to the file, and instead of using 1 greater than sign, I will just use 2, and then send this text into file.md. Now if I cat file.md, you can see that it has been added to the end of the file. If I open it, you can see we have hey there and add this to the file. Right, let's clear this and let's create a new file. So touch file2.txt, and it's an empty file. So if I cat it, file2.txt, you can see nothing is returned. I can add text to it. Echo, this is file2, and just take this and add it into file2 using command redirects. Now if I cat file2, it says this is file2. Right, I can use the cat command with command redirects to take what is inside file1 and append it to file2, like this. Cat file.md, and I will use 2 greater than signs, because if I use 1, all the text inside file2 will be deleted. Then take the output of the cat file.md and put it inside file2.txt. Now if I cat file2, you can see this is file2, and then append it after it, hey there, and add this to this file. I hope this is not too confusing. Basically, we just took the text from here and we threw it inside this file. Alright, so you can open a file, edit it, you can echo something into it using command redirects, you can cat something into it using command redirects, and if you don't want to leave the command line, you can use command line text editor called nano file2.txt, and this is going to open a text editor inside the command line for you. You can't use the mouse here, so you can just use your keyboard, and then you can start adding new text. This is written using nano, for example, and if you want to save, below here you will find how you can do this. So it says press Ctrl X, and then you will get a message, save the modified file. If you say yes, it will save. If you write N, it will not save. So I want to save, I'll write yes, and then I can rename the file if I want to. I don't want to rename it, so I'll press enter. And now if I cat file2.txt, you can see here's the original content of the file, and this is written using nano is added to it. So nano is a simple text editor that you can use inside the command line. One final way to create and edit text is using something called Vim. It works just like nano. By the way, before we talk about Vim, if you want to create a new file and edit it at the same time, I can nano another new file dot text, and then I am inside nano. I can write something using nano and Control X to save. Yes, enter, and then you can see another new file is here. What I wrote is inside it. Vim works exactly just like nano. It is another command line text editor. So I can Vim one of those files to edit them inside Vim, or I can Vim and then write the name of a new file. I think that Vim is the best way to write, in my humble opinion. not just inside the command line. I even use it to write non-code stuff. So when I'm writing anything at all, I'm using Vim. But the problem with Vim is that if someone does not tell you how to use it, you will not be able to intuitively know how to use it. I, as everyone, when I started using the command line, found myself inside Vim by mistake. I don't remember how or why. And like everyone, I got stuck and couldn't exit. Here's Vim. When you first open it, you just not understand what's happening. You cannot write. You're just trying to go down a new line. Nothing is happening. You're trying to press Q to quit. You can't quit and you're stuck inside it. In other videos, we're going to talk about Vim in detail, why it is so powerful, why it is the best way to write, in my opinion. And it's not really that difficult to learn its basics, but it's beyond the scope of this video. So if you find yourself stuck inside Vim by chance, just exit it and use Open or Nano or Echo or one of the other ways to edit your file. So how do you exit Vim? Press Escape, that's the first step, then press colon, and then press Q, then press Enter. If you try this and it doesn't work, press Escape again, press colon, press Q, and then add an exclamation mark. And you'll be back at the command line. Again, in other videos, we will dive into Vim, but for now, just edit using Open or using Nano. Before we end this video, I'll give you 2 ways to start customizing your command line experience. Of course, there's a lot more that can be done when it comes to customization, which I will explore in future videos, but this is just a start. The first thing you can do to customize your terminal experience is to create aliases. An alias is just a shortcut for commands. So basically, you can use aliases when you have a long command that you repeatedly use. For example, I use this command a lot, ls-gals. I want to create an alias that will allow me to get the same result just by writing lsg. Right now I get an error when I try to write it. Command not found. So to create an alias, I will just write the alias command, then the name of the alias, lsg, then equal sign, single quotes, then I will write the command inside these quotes. So ls-gals, and I'll press enter. Now if I write lsg, I got the same result as ls-gals. Another way to use this is when you have a folder that you cd to a lot. You change your directory to this folder a lot. Like your favorite folders, you can create very short commands that take you to these folders easily. So for example, we are still at the desktop, so I can create a new directory and call it new dir, and inside it directory 1, directory 2, and then my favorite directory. I forgot to add the P option, so I need to add the P option when I use make directory to create nested folders. So make directory and then new directory, D1, D2, my directory. Alright, so if I ls, the new dir is there. So I want to create an alias that will do this: cd, new directory, then D1, D2, my dir immediately. So what I'm going to do is that I will print the working directory. I already went there, and I'm going to select this path and press Command C to copy it. Then I will create an alias. I will call it md, my directory, is going to be equal to cd, then Command V to paste the path, and I need to close the single quotes. Right now I'm still there, so let's just type cd to head to the home directory. If I print the working directory, now I'm at the home directory. What if I want to go to my favorite folder? I'll just write md. And now if I print the working directory, you can see that I am at my favorite directory. But the problem with creating aliases this way is they work only in this session. So if I open a new tab by pressing Command T and close this one and try to use lsg, I'm going to get command not found. And if I try to use md, I'm going to get command not found. So to make an alias permanent, you have to go to a file that manages the settings of your terminal. If you are using bash, this file is going to be inside your home folder and it's going to be called .bashrc, so it's a hidden file. If you're using ZSH, if you have a newer MacBook and you're using ZSH, you're going to find this file also in the home directory, and it's going to be named .zshrc or zshellrc. I don't know how it's called. So how do I add this command to the file? I can echo it there, I can open it, or I can nano or vim. We're going to avoid vim, so I'm just going to open the file and I will type the path to it directly. So it's inside the home folder /dot. For you probably it's going to be bashrc, and for me it is going to be zshrc. Now the file will open and you can see that I already have aliases there. So I will add the alias that I want. Alias lsg equals just one space here. One space between alias and lsg. Then no spaces anymore. Equals single quote ls dash gals. Then close the quote. And now I will save and close the file and get back to the terminal. And if I type lsg, I will still get an error because I need to load the file. So I can do this by closing this session and opening a new session, or I can just type source and type the source file to load the options from home /.zshrc. And now if I type lsg, you can see that it's working. If you don't want to type the source command, you can just open a new tab and close this one. And if you type lsg, it's going to work. One final thing regarding aliases is if you forget what aliases you set, you can just type the alias command without any arguments and press enter, and you'll get a list of all the aliases you set before. So you can see lsg is here inside the list. Finally, one more thing you can do to customize your terminal is to customize how the prompt looks. I prefer this minimal look, and if I need to know where I am, I just use the pwd print working directory command. Some people like to show the path, but I find it ugly and distracting, especially if the path gets too long. I just get confused by it. So to do this, we need to edit the ps1 value inside also the .bashrc or .zshrc files. Let me cat my .zshrc file. So home cat home /.zshrc, not rvrc, and you can see that this ps1 is the variable that contains the value of the default prompt. So I can edit it this way. I just write ps1 equals and then write what I want this value to display for. So for me, I have this very minimal $sign as the sign of the prompt. If you want to have it in a different way, you can Google search how you can edit the value of ps1, then open your .bashrc file and edit the variable ps1. And of course, when you're done, you need to save and then either source.bashrc or .zshrc, or just open a new terminal tab and it will be working automatically. So what is next? Now let's talk about resources that can help you learn more about using the command line. You find links to everything in the description. The first thing you can use is cheat sheets. There's no need to memorize any command, just understand what each command does and how to use it. Then choose a cheat sheet to get back to when you're stuck. Or even better, just make your own cheat sheet with your favorite commands. And as you use a command over and over, you will memorize it. I have a cheat sheet on my website that has most of the commands we covered in this video, and I will update it soon, I hope, to cover the rest. I will also keep updating it as I learn more about the command line. There is also a cheat sheet by Codecademy if you don't like how I structured my cheat sheet. And next you have books. The first book I recommend is a booklet or short book called The Linux Commands Handbook by Flavio. It's a short book of commands and quick explanations that the author thinks are used by shell users 80% of the time. So you can use it to jumpstart learning the command line. Another book is the Linux Command Line book by William Schatz. is a very recommended book that dives deep into the command line and that is suited for beginners. And finally, in upcoming videos, I'm going to dive deeper into the command line. I'm going to explore commands that used to confuse me. I'm going to explore shell scripts. I'm going to explore Vim. So if you're interested, make sure to subscribe and tune in. This obviously isn't everything you can do with the command line. This is what I think is just enough to get started. There's a lot more to explore, like searching for files, searching inside text files, piping, which allows you to combine simple commands together and create your own complex commands. Shell scripts. You can write scripts to automate your tasks and create your own custom commands. Vim, a brilliant tool for anyone who writes using keyboard, even if you have no intention of coding. I think Vim is one of the best things I've discovered lately. Exploring useful command line tools and more. But I hope that this would be enough to get started.